Shalom, Shavatav, welcome to the Philadelphia Assemblies. Today is the 29th day of the 11th month of the year 5780. There is 30 days to this particular month of Yahuwah, which is unusual, but new moon will be on Sabbath Eve. Okay, so if you're keeping track of it by the full moon as we do per Psalm 81 verse 3, today is the 25th day of February 2021, and it's a Thursday night, about 20 minutes to 8, thereabouts. So we're on part 5 of Isaiah, the expository teaching of Isaiah the prophet. So again, we're going to be starting in verse 33, and we're going to go close to an hour, as close as we can. Read as much as we can, but again, this is part 5. And today is the 29th day of the 11th month, 5780, and it's the 25th day of February 2021 on a Thursday. Let's go to Yahuwah in prayer. Almighty Father Yahuwah, we praise you in all things, Father. We praise you for, again, your hedge of protection that's been around us and protected us from this plague that's upon the whole earth. We pray for your continued protection. We pray that you would protect all those that have been called and those that are yet to be called and those that are in the process of being called. We ask that you would teach us all things, Father, and we also ask that you would heal those that need healing, and we ask that you would comfort those that have lost loved ones. And again, we ask that you would send your Ruach HaKodesh and teach us all things and give us even more understanding of your word. And Father, let these be your words and not mine. We pray these things in Yahushua's name. Amen. Okay, chapter 33, the book of Isaiah the prophet, says, "Woe to you that destroys, and you that were not destroyed." Okay, and deal and it's talking about those that deal treacherously, and they deal not treacherously with you. When you shall cease to destroy, you shall be destroyed. And when you shall make an end to dealing treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with you. O Yahuwah, be gracious unto us. We have waited for you. Be you their arm every morning. Again, his arm is his Ruach. He's talking about protection. Our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. This is prophesying. This is Isaiah speaking here. This is not thus saith Yahuwah here. And it says, again, verse 3 says, "And the noise of the tumult," or the turmoil, "of the people fled at the lifting up of yourself. The nations were scattered." It's talking about Yahuwah scattering the nations, not physical Israel, okay, or even the Commonwealth of Israel, which is all spiritual, okay, both of the natural and the physical. And then it says, "And you spoiled or plundered, your plunder shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar." The ones that went in and took plunder, their plunder is going to be regathered again like of the gathering of a caterpillar. "As the running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them that have dealt treacherously." Verse 5, "Yahuwah is exalted, for he dwells on or lives on high. He has filled Zion with judgment and righteousness." This is prophesying again, and this is thus says Isaiah here in verse 5. Verse 6 also, all the way down to verse 10, this is Isaiah expounding upon what Yahuwah has showed him with his Ruach. Okay, verse 6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of your times, and strength of salvation, for fear of Yahuwah is his treasure. Now this, I believe, is talking about and during our Messiah's millennial reign, because that's talking about his fear and the nation of Israel, both, and which will be the physical and the spiritual. Verse 7, behold, their brave ones shall cry outside. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. The highways lie waste. The wayfaring men cease. In other words, all the commerce and everything that's in the rule of man, the 6,000-year rule of man, will cease. He has broken the covenant, man has. He has despised the cities. He regards no man. And that was physical Israel, but it's also the nations that he spoke of already here. Verse 9, the earth mourns and languishes. Lebanon is ashamed and cut down. Sharon is like a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel take off their fruits. Verse 10, this is thus saith Yahuwah, and it says that. Now will I rise. Yahuwah says that through his Ruach. Obviously, no one's heard the Father's voice or seen his form at any time, saith Yahuwah. That's what the Ruach said. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. This is after the 1,000 years. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring forth stubble. Your breath as fire shall devour you. And the people shall be as burnings of lime. As thorns cut up shall they be burned in the fire. Those are those that obviously don't come through the great white throne judgment. Hear you that are far off, what have I done? And you that are near, acknowledge my might. And this is talking all about the judgment. Verse 14, back to thus saith Isaiah as he expounds upon what Yahuwah has told him. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Trembling has seized the hypocrites, who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire. Again, this is the lake of fire among us. Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings, or unquenchable burnings. Okay, he that walks uprightly and speaks uprightly. He that walks righteously. Verse 15, and speaks uprightly. He that despises unjust gain, that shakes his hand from holding of bribes, that stops his ears from hearing of violence, and shuts his eyes from seeing evil. That's the ones that are going to come through the judgment. He shall dwell on high. Okay. His place of defiance shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His waters shall be sure. Those are the ones that, again, in verse 15, walk righteously and speak uprightly. That's what he's talking about. Verse 17, your eyes shall see the King in his beauty. Okay, this is talking about, obviously can be talking about our Messiah, but ultimately the Father, Yahuwah. They shall behold the land that is very far off. That's talking about in the new heaven and earth. Your heart shall think terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? You shall not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than you cannot perceive of the stammering tongue, again, or foreign tongue. That's that's talking about those that cannot understand because the Father's not speaking to them plainly. Again, he's speaking to them through his Messiah now, through the Ruach, through his Messiah, and speaking in parables. That's what it's speaking of, okay, tongue, that you cannot understand. Remember our Messiah said, his disciples asked him why he spoke in parables. He said, at least they hear with their ears and see with their eyes, and they repent and I heal them. Okay, that's why they can't understand. Okay, it wasn't meant for them to repent on that. Verse 20, look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Your eyes shall see Jerusalem, quiet habitation, a tabernacle or tent that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed. This is talking about the new Jerusalem in the new heaven and new earth. Neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. But there the glorious Yahuwah will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein shall go no boat with oars, neither shall gallant ships pass thereby. This is talking about in the kingdom of Yahuwah in that new heaven, new earth, Revelation chapter 21. Verse 22, for Yahuwah is our judge, that's at the great white throne judgment. Yahuwah is our lawgiver, which he gave us the law through Moses. He gave us the law through our Messiah, but he is the lawgiver. Yahuwah is our king. He will save us. Even our Messiah's name, Yahushua, means Yahuwah saves. Okay? So our Messiah is our sacrifice, and that's how he's our Savior, not in the same way that Yahuwah is, because Messiah died so that we might be forgiven, and the Father's the one who forgives us, so he's our Savior, if that makes sense to you. 23. Your tacklings are loosed. They could not well strengthen their mast. Talking about the things that guide the sail on a ship. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great loot divided. The lame take the prey. Okay, this is talking about this is all going to come to pass. This is all thus saith Isaiah, expounding on what Yahuwah said, in 10 through 13. Okay, and he says, 24, and the inhabitant shall not say, I am sick, because there's going to be no more sickness, there's going to be no more evil, there's going to be none of that. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven of their lawlessness, or their iniquity, or their sin. Chapter 34. And that's all talking about the new heaven and new earth. That's everybody at that time. Chapter 34. Come near, you nations, or Gentiles, those that are other than nations of Israel. He says, come near, you nations, to hear and to listen, you people. Let the earth hear, that's everyone on the earth, and all that is therein, or that dwells on the earth, the world and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahuwah is upon all nations. Okay, this is talking about at the end, at the time of the white throne judgment. And his fury, the Father's, Yahuwah, is upon all their armies. We know that, talked about that in Revelation chapter 20. He had delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Okay, this is not talking about pre-Messiah. This is talking about before the new heaven and the earth, when they come and surround the camp of the saints, and fire comes down out of heaven. Verse 4, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. Everything in the heavens, before the new heaven and new earth. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. Not before Messiah comes, after his 1,000-year reign. And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falls off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. That was all, thus saith Isaiah the prophet. Verse 5 is, thus saith Yahuwah, for my sword shall be bathed in the Shamayim. Behold, or in the heavens. Behold, it shall come down upon Edomaiah. Make sure I pronounce that right. And upon the people of my curse to judgment. Okay? The great white throne judgment. And the sword of Yahuwah is his ruach, just like it's his arm and everything else, and that's what's going to destroy everything. The sword of Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of the rams, talking about all the sacrifices for the sins. For Yahuwah has a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Edomaiah. And the unicorns, and they got there's a better translation for that. And the wild oxen shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls and their land shall be soaked with blood because of all these sacrifices for all these sins, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahuwah's vengeance. And that's going to be right at the great white throne judgment. And the year of recompense or repayment for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into tar, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning tar. It shall not be quenched. In other words, it's an unquenchable fire. It's going to burn until there's nothing left to burn. Night nor day in that great white throne judgment. The smoke thereof shall go up, and it says forever. It really says from to the end of the age. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall live through it. Now, if you're not, that doesn't mean everlasting in the fire forever and ever. It says none shall live through it. Okay? And so it says pass on the King James, but live is a better translation. None shall live through it from one age to the next. In other words, they won't go in to the new heaven, new earth. They'll be burned up. They'll be destroyed. It's been talking about destroyed in the chapter previous to this. You have to keep up. You can't read your own understanding into what you're seeing here. But the pelican and the hedgehog shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. They'll be destroyed, all principalities, powers, all those things. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles. This is not literal, folks. This is Isaiah explaining, saying that their kingdom will be no more, the nations here. In the fortress thereof, and it shall be a habitation of dinosaurs, okay, or serpents, and a court for unclean birds. They got owls in the King James, but it's for all unclean birds. Verse 14. The hyenas of the desert shall also meet with the shaggy goat of the island. And the satyr shall cry to his fellow, and the screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. Verse 15, there shall the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. And we can see that in Matthew 24, as well as other places. Seek you out of the book of Yahuwah, and read. No one of these shall fail. In other words, none of these prophecies. Some of this that he just read obviously seems to be before Messiah's return, but the majority of this is talking about the great white throne judgment and the day of Yahuwah's revenge. Seek you out of the book of Yahuwah and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want for her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit, or Yahuwah's Ruach, that's capital H there, and his Ruach, it hath gathered them. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever, for from generation to generation shall they dwell therein. That's talking about, I believe, in the new heaven, new earth, because there'll be no more death or anything. It'll just continue. Chapter 35, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossoms. This is all thus saith Isaiah. As the rose, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of Yahuwah and the excellency of our Elohim. Strengthen you the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your Elohim will come with vengeance, even Elohim with a recompense or repayment. He will come and save you. Talking about his set apart ones. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, or as a deer, and the tongue of the dumb shall sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. And the dry ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs up water. In the habitation of, again, sea monsters, serpents, or dinosaurs. I mean, obviously, English words to describe what the Hebrew words are saying there. Where each lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes, and highways, and an highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness or set apartness. The unclean shall not pass over it. That's obviously talking about into the new heaven and new earth. But it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. That's talking about those that are spared either in the first resurrection or at the second resurrection after the white throne judgment. They're the only ones going to walk there. There's not going to be any sinners there. Obviously, during the reign of our Messiah, our Mashiach, there will be sin still going on. Okay, we'll talk about that, later on. Okay, verse 10, and the ransomed of Yahuwah shall return, and come to Zion, with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and singing shall flee away. Okay, they're going to be, that's everlasting to everlasting in the new heaven, new earth, chapter 36. Now it came to pass, this is Isaiah the prophet, in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of the Yehudim and took them. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh, and I probably slaughtered that, from Lachish to Jerusalem unto King Hezekiah with a great army. And he stood by the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. Then came forth unto Eliakim, Hilkiah's son, which was over the house, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, and Asaph, son of the recorder. Okay, these are, again, the psalmists, the recorders here. Verse 4, and Rabshakeh said unto them, say you now to Hezekiah, thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is there with you where you trust? I say, what do you say? But they are but worthless or empty words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom do you trust, that you rebel against me? Lo, you trust in the staff of his broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. But if you say to me, we trust in Yahuwah our Elohim, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away, and said to the Yehudim and to Jerusalem, ye shall worship before this altar? That's a question. Now therefore, make an agreement, I beg you, to my master the king of Assyria, and I will give you 2,000 horses, if you be able on your part to set riders upon them. How then will you turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? Okay, that's another question. Verse 10, and now I am come up without Yahuwah against this land to destroy it. That's a question. Really? You're really going to do that? Yahuwah said unto me, go up against this land and destroy it. Verse 11, then said Eliakim and Shebna and Joah unto Rabshakeh, speak, I beg you, unto your servants the Syrian language, for we understand it, and speak not to us in the Jews. This is talk. We read this back in the book of Kings. Language in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said, has my master sent me to your master, to you, to speak these words? That's a question. Hath he not sent me to the men that sit upon the wall, that they may eat their own refuse or dung, and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Yehudim, in the language of the Yehudim, and said, hear you the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus saith the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuwah, saying, Yahuwah will surely deliver us. This city shall fall, this city shall not be delivered unto the hand of the king of Assyria. Listen not unto Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and eat you every one of his vine, and every one of his fig tree, and you drink every one the water of his own cistern. Verse 17, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of grain and wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, Yahuwah will deliver us. Have any of the Elohim of the nations delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? So all the nations before you had their Elohim. Did any of them deliver them? No, obviously they didn't, because they're idols. They're not real. They're not really Elohim, as Yahuwah is Elohim. Verse 19. Where are the Elohim of Hathmath and Arphad? Where are the Elohim of the Sepharim? And have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? Who are they among all the Elohim of these lands that have delivered their land out of my hand, that Yahuwah should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But they were silent, and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, answer him not. Then came Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, that was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes torn, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Chapter 37. And it came to pass when King Hezekiah, this is all thus saith Isaiah. He's going over the history of these things that's already happened. See, prophecy is type and shadow and type. So things have already happened, will happen again. Nothing's new under the sun. That's basically what this is all about. So Isaiah the prophet's going over what's already had and how this has been fulfilled to this point and how it goes to the next level. Okay, so where was I now? I'm going to start in 37. And it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it, that he tore his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of Yahuwah. And he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, unto Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz. And they said unto him, thus saith Hilkiah, this day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke, and of contempt. For the ben or the sons are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth. it may be Yahuwah our Elohim will hear the words of Ribshka, whom the king of Assyria, his master, has sent to reproach the living Elohim, and will reprove the words which Yahuwah your Elohim has heard. Wherefore lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, this is being spoken to the people after the fact, thus say you, say unto your masters, thus saith Yahuwah. And this is in red now for the next two verses. So it's the words of Yahuwah through the Ruach HaKadosh. Be not afraid of the words that you have heard, wherewith the servants of the king, talking about that they told him that Yahuwah wouldn't deliver him. He's telling them, don't be afraid of the words that you've heard, that you within the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed, or or has contempt. Okay. Where was I? Or blasphemed me, rejected me. That's what it's talking about. Verse 7. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, okay, the king of Assyria and his army, and he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to be killed by the sword in his own land. And that's exactly what happened if you go back and read that in Kings. Verse 8, so Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he was departed from Lachish, and he heard a report concerning Tirhakah, king of Ethiopia. He has come forth to make war with you. And when he heard it, he sent Malachim, okay, in Hebrew, same word they use for angels. He sent Malachim to Hezekiah, saying, thus shall you speak to Hezekiah, king of Yehuda, saying, let not your Elohim in whom you trust deceive you, saying, Jerusalem shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. This again, thus saith Isaiah. Behold, you has heard what the king of Assyria hath done to all the lands by destroying them utterly, and shall you be delivered? Have the Elohim of the nations delivered them, which my fathers have destroyed, as Gozan, and Haran, and Reseph, and the Ben, or the sons of Eden, which were in Telasar? Verse 13, where is the king of Hamath, and the king of Arphad, and the king of the city of Sephavim, Hena, and Ivan, and Iva, not Ivan, Iva, and Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the Malachim, and read it, and Hezekiah went up unto the house of Yahuwah, and spread it before Yahuwah. And Hezekiah prayed unto Yahuwah, saying, O Yahuwah of Sabaoth, or the multitudes of Israel, that dwells between the cherubims, thou art the Elohim, even you alone of all the kingdoms of the earth, you have made Shamayim and earth. Incline your ear, O Yahuwah, and hear Open your eyes, O Yahuwah, and see and hear all the words of Sennacherib, which hath sent to reproach the living Elohim. 18. Of a trust, Yahuwah, the kings of Assyria have laid waste all the nations and their island, or their coasts, and have cast their Elohim into the fire, for they were no Elohim, but the works of men's hands, as I said, other idols, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed them. Now therefore, O Yahuwah our Elohim, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are Yahuwah, even you only, Then Isaiah the son of Amos sent unto Hezekiah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, because you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this, and this is in red, this is the word which Yahuwah has spoken concerning him. The virgin, the daughter of Zion, hath despised you, and laughed you to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at you. This is read all the way down to through verse 35 for those that were wondering. So this is all thus saith Yahuwah as it's reported from the Ruach and now from Isaiah the prophet. It says, Whom hast thou reproached and blasphemed? And against whom have you raised your voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Even against the set apart one of Israel, talking about Yahuwah. By your servants have you reproached Yahuwah, and has said, By the multitude of my chariots am I come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I will cut down all the tall cedars thereof, and the choice firs thereof, and I will enter into the height of its borders, and the forest of its Carmel. I have digged and drunk water, and with the sole of my feet have I dried up all the rivers of the besieged places. Have you not heard long ago how I have done it, and of the ancient times that I have formed it? Now have I brought it to pass, that you should be to destroy fortified cities unto ruinous heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were weak. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, and as the green herb as the grass on the housetops, and as the grain scorched before it be grown up. But I know your dwelling place. He knows where they live. And you're going out, and you're coming in, and your rage against me. Because your rage against me and your tumult is come up unto mine ears. Therefore will I put my hook in your nose, and my bridle in your lips. And I will turn you back by the way by which you came. And he did just that. This has all already happened, but this is thus saith Yahuwah. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall eat this year such as grows of itself, and the second year that which springs of the same. And in the third year sow you, and reap, and plant vineyards, and eat the fruit thereof. So he's going to make it a jubilee, okay? Verse 31, And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Yehudah will again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, okay? That means a small minority of all the people, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of the Yahuwah of Sabaoth, of the multitudes, shall do this. Therefore thus saith Yahuwah concerning the king of Assyria, He shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there. We read that already, how this all happened. He turned him back, nor came before it with shields, nor build a siege ramp against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, saith Yahuwah. For I will defend this city to save it, for my own sake, for my servant David's sake, because of the promise he made to David. Then the Malach of Yahuwah went forth, which is what always does it. That's the Ruach HaKodesh. The Malach of Yahuwah went forth and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpse. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt in Nineveh. And it came to pass, as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his Eloah, that Adramelech, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and Shazer, his Bens, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Armenia. And Esarhaddon, his Ben, reigned in his stead. That's going over some of the same things that was covered in Kings and Chronicles. Okay, chapter 38. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto his death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him and said unto him, Thus saith Yahuwah, Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. That was in red. Thus saith Yahuwah. Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto Yahuwah, and said, Remember now, O Yahuwah, I beg you, how I have walked before you in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Then came the word of Yahuwah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, to Isaiah, saying, Go and say to Hezekiah, Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of David, your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. Behold, I will add unto you your days 15 years. And I will deliver you and this city out of the hand of the king of the Assyrian, the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city. And this shall be a sign unto you from Yahuwah, that Yahuwah will do this thing that he has spoken. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz 10 degrees backward. So the sun return 10 degrees, so he sets time back, by which degrees it was gone down. So that was a sign to Hezekiah that he was going to live 15 more years. Verse 9, the writing of Hezekiah king of Yehudah, when he had been sick and was recovered of his sickness, I said, in the cutting off of my days, I shall go to the gates of the grave. I am deprived of the residue of my years. I said, I shall not see Yahuwah, even Yahuwah, in the land of the living. I shall behold man no more with the inhabitants of the world. My age is left and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent. I have cut off like a weaver my life. He will cut me off with pinning sickness. From day even to night will you make an end of me. And this again is thus saith Isaiah the prophet. I waited patiently till morning, that as a lion so will he break all my bones. From day even to night will you make an end of me. Like a crane or a swallow, so did I chatter. I did mourn as a dove. My eyes fail with looking upward. O Yahuwah, I am oppressed. Undertake for me. What shall I say? He hath both spoken unto me, and he and himself have done it. I shall go softly all my years in the bitterness of my soul or my life. O Yahuwah, by these things men live, and in all these things is the life of my spirit or his breath. So will you restore me and make me to live. Behold, for peace I had great bitterness. And this is all talking about Hezekiah. But thou hast in love to my life delivered it from the pit or the grave of corruption. For you have cast all my sins behind your back. For the grave cannot praise, or Sheol cannot praise. Your death cannot celebrate. You they that go down into the grave, again he's talking, and that's talking about that same word that I just Sheol, the grave, cannot hope for your truth. The living he shall praise you, as I do this day. The Father to the Son shall make known your truth. Yahuwah was ready to save me, therefore will we sing my songs to the stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of Yahuwah. For Isaiah had said, let them take a lump of figs and lay it for plaster upon the boil, and he shall recover. Hezekiah also had said, what is the sign that I shall go up to the house of Yahuwah? Chapter 39. At that time, Merodach Balakadam, and I know I butchered that one, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. And Hezekiah was glad of them and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold and the spices and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasuries. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, what said these men? And from where came they to you? And Hezekiah said, they are come from a far country unto me, even from Babylon. Then said he, what have they seen in your house? And Hezekiah answered, all that is mine in my house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. Then said Hezekiah, hear the word of Yahuwah of Sabaoth, or the multitudes. This is in red through 7, 6 and 7. Behold, the days come, that all that is in your house, and that which your fathers have laid up in store until this day, shall be carried to Babylon, nothing shall be left, saith Yahuwah. And that all happened. And of your ben that shall be born to you, which you shall father, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, good is the word of Yahuwah which thou hast spoken. He said, moreover, for there shall be peace and truth in my days. In other words, basically he didn't care because it didn't apply to him. That's what he just said. Chapter 40. Because he knew Yahuwah had promised him that he was going to live 15 more years and he's going to live in peace, so it wasn't going to affect him, so I guess he didn't care. Chapter 40. Comfort you, my people, saith your Elohim. This is in red through 2. Speak you kindly to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her hard service is accomplished, that her iniquity or lawlessness is pardoned, for she has received of Yahuwah hand double for all her sins. The voice of him that cries, this is in, thus saith Isaiah here, the voice of him that cries in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of Yahuwah, make straight in the desert a highway for our Elohim. And I know this is quoted concerning our Messiah later on, but this is not what this is talking about here, but it's prophesying of what's going to happen at the same time. Verse 4, every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. This is talking about destroying the old creation. And the glory of Yahuwah shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Okay, at the same time, at the white throne judgment, for the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken it. That's what this is talking about. The voice said, cry, and he said, what shall I cry? This is thus saith Isaiah. All flesh is grass, and all the goodness thereof is as the flower of the field. This was quoted in James chapter 1 and verse 6. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the Spirit of Yahuwah blows upon it. And that's talking about at the great white throne judgment. Surely the people is grass, going to be destroyed. All those except the ones that are going into the kingdom. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of Elohim shall stand forever. And that's talking about his spoken word, but the Ruach HaKodesh will stand forever. O Zion, that brings good tidings. Get you up into the high mountain, O Jerusalem, that brings good tidings. Lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up. Be not afraid. Say unto the cities of the Yehudim, behold your Elohim. Behold, Yahuwah Elohim will come with a strong hand, the Ruach, and his arm shall rule for him. Now, that 1,000-year reign is our Messiah. When he comes down, the Ruach's going to be ruling through him. Okay, behold, his reward is with him. His reward is the Ruach, and his work before him. Verse 11, he shall feed his flock like a shepherd during the millennium. He shall gather the lambs with his arm. He's doing that by the Ruach coming down, resting upon them, speaking through them. And through that he will carry them in his bosom, and shall greatly lead those that are with young. Okay? Who hath measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, the Ruach, and measured out the Shamayim with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and his hills in a balance, and the hills in a balance. Who have directed the Spirit of Yahuwah? And that's what this has all been talking about, the Ruach HaKodesh, or being his counselor, have taught him. The Spirit of Yahuwah. Who's taught him? He's the great teacher. Okay? Teaching us all things, whatever have been commanded us. That's what the Ruach's job has always been. 14. With whom took he counsel? And who instructed him? And taught him in the path of judgment? And taught him in knowledge? And showed to him the way of understanding? The Ruach. Nobody taught him. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he takes up the distant lands as a very little thing. And Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beasts thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations are going to be the burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. To whom will we liken Elohim? To whom will we liken the mighty one, or El? Or what likeness will you compare unto him? And again, this is talking about the Spirit of Yahuwah. Verse 19, the workman melts a graven image, and the goldsmith spreads it over with gold, and casts silver chains. He that is so impoverished that he has no offering chooses a tree that will not rot. He seeks unto him skillful workmen to prepare graven image that shall not be moved. Have you not known? Have you not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he, the Ruach again, that sits upon the sickle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. The Spirit of Yahuwah. The stretching out of the Shamayims, or the heavens, as a curtain, and spreading them out as a tent to dwell in, that bring the prince to nothing. He makes the judges of the earth as vanity. Yes, they shall not be planted. Yes, they shall not be sown. Yes, their stock shall not take root in the earth. And he, again, the Spirit of Yahuwah, shall also blow upon them, and they shall wither, and the whirlwind shall take them away as stubble. And this is all talking about after the great white throne judgment. This is in red now, verse 25. To whom then will you liken me, or shall I be equal with the set apart one? Saith the set apart one. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold, who hath created these things, that brings out their host by number. He calls them all by names, by greatness of his power, for that he is strong in power, not one fails. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel? My way is hid from Yahuwah, and my justice is passed over from my Elohim. Have you not known? Have you not heard that the everlasting Elohim, Yahuwah, the creator of the ends of the earth, through his spirit, faints not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. He gives power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary. Over time, isn't that true? The young men shall utterly fall. Not going to be young forever, are we? But they that wait upon Yahuwah shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Chapter 41 is mostly in red. You know, most of it, or at least on these next 2 pages. Okay? This will be the last chapter. This is, thus saith Yahuwah, through his Ruach, his spirit again. Keep silent before me, O lands, and let the people renew their strength. Let them come near, then let them speak. Let us come near together to judgment, or to justice. Who raised up the righteous man from the east, called him to his foot, gave the nations before him, and made him ruler over kings? He gave them as the dust to his sword, and as driven stubble to his bow. He pursued them, and passed safely, even by the way that he had not gone with his feet. Who hath wrought and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, Yahuwah, the first, and with the last, I am he. He's the Alpha and the Omega. That's what he just said. The distant lands saw it and feared. The ends of the earth were afraid, drew near and came. They helped every one his neighbor, and every one said to his neighbor, be of good courage, or be brave. So the carpenter encouraged the smelterer, and he that smoothed with the hammer him that smote the anvil, saying, it is ready for the soldering. And he fastened it with nails, that it should not be moved. Talking about idols again. But you, O Israel, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the descendants of Abraham, my friend. You, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called you from the chief men thereof, and said unto you, thou art my servant, I have chosen you, and not cast you away. Talking about Israel. Spiritual Israel, obviously, because the physical was to produce the spiritual. And both the natural and the wild olive branch will become one as the commonwealth of Israel, and they are becoming one as we speak. Fear you not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your Elohim. This is Yahuwah speaking to his Ruach again. I will strengthen you, yes, I will help you, yes, I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. Talking about the Ruach HaKodesh, his spirit. Behold, all they that were incensed against you shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with you shall perish. You shall seek them and shall not find them, even them that contend with you. They that war against you shall be as nothing. That's talking about at white throne judgment, and as a thing of non-existence. That's what the word naught means, non-existence. Verse 13, for I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, will hold your right hand, saying unto you, fear not, I will help you. Fear not you whom Jacob and you, and let's fear not you worm Jacob and ye men of Israel. Okay, Jacob talking about the natural seed, and ye men of Israel. I will help you, saith Yahuwah, and your Redeemer, the set apart one of Israel. Behold, I will make, this is all red again. Behold, I will make you a sharp threshing instrument, having teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and beat them small. This is talking about at the end of days, okay? And shall make the hills as chaff. You shall fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And you shall rejoice in Yahuwah, and shall glory in the set apart one of Israel. When the poor and the needy seek water, and there is none, their tongue fails for thirst. I, Yahuwah, will hear them. I, the Elohim of Israel, will not forsake them. That's talking about Israel, okay? In the end, he will not forsake them. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness cedar, the shittah tree, and the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, and the box tree together, that they may see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahuwah has done this. It's talking about his Ruach, his spirit. And the set apart one of Israel has created it. Produce your argument, saith Yahuwah. Bring forth your strong reasons, saith the king of Jacob. Let them bring them forth and show us what shall happen. Let them show the former things what they be, that we may consider them and know the latter end from them, or declare us things to come, for to come. Show the things that are to come hereafter, that we may know that you are Elohim. You do good or do evil, that we may be dismayed and behold it together, see it all together. Behold, you are nothing. You are of no account, and you amount to nothing. You are detestable is he that chooses you. I have raised up one from the north, and he shall come from the rising of the sun, from the east shall he call upon my name, and he shall come upon princes as upon mortar, and as the potter treads the clay. Who have declared from the beginning, the Ruach has, for the Father, that we may know, and before time that we may say, he is righteous. Yes, there is none that shows. Yes, there is none that declares. Yes, there is none that hears your words. The first shall say to Zion, behold, behold them, and I will give to Jerusalem one that brings good tidings. That's talking about our Messiah, and also the Ruach. For I behold, there is no man, even among them, and there was no counselor that when I asked of them could give an answer. Behold, they are worthless, they are empty, they are works of worthless. They are worthless. Their molten images are wind and confusion. And we're going to call it a stop right there. And we'll pick it up, and I'll be back tomorrow night to do part 6. Okay? And if you haven't yet taken time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then hit the notification bell so you get notified the next video when it comes out. But also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up because it really helps, and then share the video to get the word out. And again, may Yahuwah bless until we meet again.